Have you seen the one where they have potatoes?
Okay, so what do we think of the hot sauces so far? How are your sauces over there, Matt?
So these first four were I had the Hot Ones Classic wing sauce, which is the mildest hot ones. I had Frank's. I had El Yucateco habanero.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That one has a real kick. That one's
Yeah.
spicier than any of the others.
And then I had a homemade habanero. I made it for some tacos.
Nice.
So that was kind of the easy part of my lineup. The rest of these are all pretty substantial, like
Yeah,
I
ours
think
are pretty
ghost
think
pepper
we're
sauces. So
I think we're gonna start jumping here soon.
We have
Yeah.
Ninja
We got jerk,
Napalm.
which actually sounds really good. I think this
nice.
will be really good.
I'm looking forward to
I'll start this next question off at you. Actually, I haven't shaken this. So, you, Subu. How often do you create new designs?
How can I create?
No, how often?
How often?
Mhm.
Well, these days not that often, because I've been in management for the last
Yeah, and that's why you're switching back to
Yeah.
like get back to the
almost
to the trenches.
9.5 years I've been in management, which has been
What was your biggest learning curve in management?
it was just hijacking
I'm
you.
just asking.
I think it was
Can't audit
it
and
was having to like
How do you know?
read people. I just expected people to tell me what they wanted and what they didn't want. Apparently, people don't do that. But
You gotta read between the lines, dude.
yeah, I couldn't read between the lines. I could not like understand like people's body language in any which way, and I realized I never would. So now, like, I think my learning was I was just gonna tell people, I'm like, I won't be able to read anything that you're feeling until you tell me.
Yeah, you have to be direct.
And I'm going to be super direct with you. If you
Yeah.
don't want that, you have to tell me.
Yeah.
This is my default. And
Do you feel like it's been really helpful being in the same company for so long now that
It-
people understand how you work?
yeah. But for the last year, I've been doing quite a bit of like design work, largely in terms of like not just technology, but also designing process. Because like part of what we have to do is like be able to do like a security analysis and attack a piece of software and hardware before it goes out to customers. So we have to build some process that integrates with the product development in a way that doesn't slow them down, but also like takes advantage of like the periods where they're doing some testing, so we can do some testing too. So that's been kind of interesting. And so the switch back to non-management is something I'm looking forward to. So you actually do real work.
No, I can imagine you can just fully throw yourself at something and don't have to like be like, oh, right, I have to write these performance reviews. Oh, I gotta fire this guy or gal,
Yeah.
you know, etc. What about yourself, Matt? Are you what has been some of the things you've designed over the years?
Yeah, lots of pretty much most days I'm working on something like that. So a lot of plastic parts are most of my experience, injection molded plastic parts. For automotive stuff, that's like the external, like rear and front bumper fascias that are plastic, grills, active aerodynamic parts that move into different configurations. Some like stampings and body parts that get spot welded or seam welded together, aluminum extrusions. Now doing kind of more consumer goods with like stainless steel, like vacuum insulated water bottles, still a lot of injection molded plastic parts, but now also some kind of integrated, circuits and electronics, and lots of packaging and kind of like fitting everything together, designing thicknesses and clips and fasteners and stuff like that. So.
It's really interesting because like all I know about LifeStraw is the LifeStraw, right? So like they have a full line of products.
Yeah, there's quite a few things. There's some home products. We have stuff in glass, stuff in stainless steel. There's pitchers, bottles. There's things for like larger groups of people that are gravity filters. There's more like hiking oriented gravity filter stuff. There's the straw formats. Um, there's one for if you have like a pressurized water source, like in a hose, that you can filter. So yeah, lots of different kind of stuff.
Nice. Is there anything you've gotten to introduce like it's brand new? That's like your own thing, your own brainchild?
Yeah, usually, like in my roles, I don't get too much say in like what we're doing at a kind of high level, um, like what exactly the product is. But you get lots of responsibility and freedom to figure out how you get from, a idea on a whiteboard to an actual product. So a lot of the design is in not the idea, but in taking that idea and making it a physical thing that works.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of like, I guess a lot of engineering is not like making brand new products, but like perfecting things that are out there.
Yeah, and I would say that's kind of like where engineering is different from maybe like a hard science or somebody who's sitting, like a PhD postdoc or something who's sitting in a lab and thinking about how to combine materials in a different way. Engineers usually are using tools and using concepts that are very well established to achieve something or to make a product or solve a problem or something. So
Makes sense.
sometimes there's new stuff, but very often you're kind of putting together different pieces of stuff. And even like, I'm doing some like some work with powered components. I don't have a ton of experience with that. But there's a lot of references out there that you can kind of draw from, and you can pick pieces of things. And even if you don't necessarily understand or design everything that you're choosing, you can go and buy a motor right off the shelf and look at how to use it and how to control it. You don't have to design that motor from, first principles.
Right, because a lot of spinning your wheels on that one.
Yeah, sure.
I hear you. Some of these following questions are very like kind of like we touched on them as we went. I don't want really necessarily need to just do those.
What
but
sauce are you on now, Matt?
Are you on the Supernova?
We got past that one. This
How are
is
you doing?
my sixth.
Nice.
This is the spicy shark.
Okay.
It's,
Oh, nice.
also
Okay,
on
I'm
the
gonna
sixth,
start.
I
This one was okay.
ghost pepper.
More sweet. The apple one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some more personalized ones, and I'll switch between Matt and soups. So you kind of answered the first one. I was initially my question for you was like for such a petrol head, what drove you to software instead? But let's go with something.
Yeah, I saw the W.
Yeah, how would you say that your switch from being an Indian school to an international school changed one, your life trajectory, and two, who Subu is as a person or as an engineer?
I think the biggest change that it had was
Smells like minty.
yeah,
It's like sour.
the biggest change that it had was I think when I moved to the international school is when I started enjoying learning. Until then, learning was a chore. I didn't like it. The way structured education went, and I studied most of my life in an Indian school. I did international only for my last 3 years of high school, and then I went to university. So even till today, people hate it when I say this, but I hate structured learning because they made me hate structured learning. It wasn't about learning for the fun of it. It was learning to pass a test, and that really bothered me.
It's hard.
But when I moved to the international school, it wasn't about the test. Like they honestly didn't care. Like you wrote the test, you still wrote tests because that's how you pass school. But
right,
you didn't study to pass the test. You studied and learned something to appreciate how cool it was. And I found this like profound love for the sciences in the last 3 years of my high school. I actually even ended up liking literature that I hated. So I had all of these experiences for 3 years that changed everything about how I was thinking for like the the 9 years of schooling before that.
Must have been like a revelation, honestly.
It was.
Was there a particular teacher, or was it just the overall?
It was the
setup?
overall like school, and all the teachers were really nice too. But it was a very conflicting experience. And I think that's one of the big reasons I went into engineering as opposed to computer science, because I think like I enjoyed learning. Like when you engineer something, it's built to last. You're not inventing something fancy that is a concept and a theory and proving out that theory. Like it's all good. Like it seemed very theoretical to me, but when I came to engineering, it's taking that theory, build something that potentially outlives you.
Yeah.
And I think that was very that was one of the big reasons I went into engineering. So
Gotcha.
just enjoying like learning and building something. If it wasn't the Indian school, like I honestly don't think I would have gotten into engineering school. Even if I did, I probably would not have enjoyed it, and I don't know what would have become of me. Like,
so I was reading a book by Richard Feynman, one of the Manhattan Project scientists, and it was really cool because he, obviously extremely well educated with physics, and then he went down to Brazil to, I think it was to audit or to like maybe assistant, professor or something, but they found that the way they taught engineering was entirely by rote, so they didn't practice, they didn't look at like the doing of things or like the application of all the theory. So like you'll have people graduating that all they've done the entire time is just learning by memory theories, and like they can state them verbatim, but they had no concept of like how these things interacted or like how they built upon each other. So, which is pretty crazy when you think of an entire and this was the most elite engineering school in Brazil, and it's pretty much what he told them. And it's pretty crazy thing about an entire country whose principal educational concepts are so flawed.
It's cultural.
Yeah.
It's very weird. A lot of Indians are like this too, and they're like, especially like India puts out a lot of software engineers. It boggles my mind that they do, because most of them make terrible software engineers. Like most of them, like they just are terrible software engineers because they don't do it to enjoy engineering. They do it because they can get a job in some Western company and make a good life for themselves. And the motivations are a little bit flawed, and they but like it works because a lot of these companies will hire them as junior software engineers. You still need somebody to fix bugs, but you're not at that point. You're not engineering much. You're sort of
You're digging electronic ditches.
Yeah, it's not really it's kind of how what the industry has done.
Try Ninja Napalm.
Ninja
Oh, yeah,
Napalm. All
let's
right,
do
we got
that.
Ninja
We're
Napalm
on our
next.
next-
We noticed that the labels stopped being like, they haven't been bad at all so
So
far.
far, they've been pretty reasonable.
But the labels now turn from like, come on, this would be delicious, to like, yo, you better watch out.
These are
This shit's
nice.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So
They start getting like darker and like
okay, so all right, for you, Matt. So I know that you're deeply involved with cars, and at some point, up to recently, in racing. Oh, thank you. Now, I know you've been in several crashes. So how would you say they've affected you? What was different between each crash, and like that moment that you lost control and you're like, okay, no more input from me will make any difference? What went through your mind?
The most interesting ones I've been in were when I was doing rally at Honda. I was a co-driver, so I was a guy sitting in the passenger seat reading the notes about what the road was going to be. So you don't have direct control, but you have a huge effect on what's going to happen, because if you screw up, you can cause a really bad situation if your driver like listens exactly to you. So yeah, I can't remember. We rolled the car over one time, and it was crazy because it was one of those things that like happens like really fast, but at the same time, like you have time to like think as it's happening, but it's not, you don't have like complete control over what you're thinking about. I just remember, uh, like as the car was starting to roll over, and I knew we were gonna roll, looking like directly at the roll cage above me and being like, I'm really glad that's there. And then just like watching it as we like I knew we were gonna hit, and it was good. Um, we got the car pulled back over, and somebody helped us. That like in rally, you kind of help your competitors often. So the next person came along and towed us over, and then we finished the stage. Um, but I think crashes, like
Yeah.
stuff like that, it gives you an appreciation for what you're doing. Things don't always go right, so you'll have to plan for that. And you know, aware that it can happen. Also, like after we had our first crash, which was not that one, it was less severe.
Yeah.
I was like really nervous to crash at all, and then like the first time we hit a tree and we were okay, and we like got the car dragged out and like kept going. I was like, okay, like if this happens again, like we're gonna be okay. We'll figure it out. But that first time is really stressful, and like leading up to it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you're saying the best thing when you get into rally car racing, get a car, take it straight into a tree, and
Yeah.
get over that initial fear.
First thing, drive it right into a tree.
Yeah.
Hey babe, do we have a plastic bag? But so that one was a huge step up.
Ninja Napalm was.
You just showing the cover art. It's like a chili ninja. Ooh, oh, it's a good one. Here she is.
Okay. Yeah, that one looks pretty serious.
They all look terrible after this one. I'm a little nervous.
So
Yeah.
this is what they did. They lulled us into complacency.
Oh, they did. They really did because
Cause
I covered my wing. Ninja Napalm.
You guys have the bomb next?
Yep.
Oh boy.
But the only thing I've heard about this one is that it just doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
And it's just.
Well, you're gonna find out for yourself.
Because your tongue's dead after the
I was
napalm.
gonna say, is it just because it's I'm out of wings though.
Oh, there were two more.
I know, I ate them. But you guys can continue. I might have a taste.
There, it's a lot of sinus cleansing.
Yeah, no, I feel like a new man. And this new man is about to die in this next race. Okay, I will say
That's great though. Like, I went rallying for the first time this year at Dirt Fest, the rally school here
oh, there's a rascal.
Oh, cool.
in Snoqualmie.
What? That's crazy.
Nice.
A friend and I did it, and I can totally see it because like he didn't run into a tree. What is this?
This is like a little
Oh.
gingerbread cookie.
He
What are your advices, Matt?
he totally like spun off in when we were doing the like one of the drills. But and he was saying how it was like super scary. But now that it happened, he was like driving like a madman. Right? Like he's basically found that limit that you could push the car to. So every run I was trying to get that to the next limit, but I never quite got there because I didn't go past the limit and then pull back.
I think you have to really know the car really well.
Yeah. And it was so much fun.
I bet, dude. How much was that?
It was I think it was like 1,500. So it was pricey.
Or how many like classes?
It was one day.
Oh wow, okay. It's like
8 hours.
Well, hey. How you doing?
It was a lot of fun, but they say if you have
Start saving my lunch money. That sounds really cool. Okay. All right. I'm just wasting time because I'm trying to get mentally prepared for this next one.
Yeah. I'm really good for this.
Matt, how exactly does it work between driver and reader? Because I understand the general concept, but don't understand the shorthand at all.
Yeah, so there's a few different formats, but like the usual format in most rallies now is there's a system like an inertial measurement system that they put in a truck and they drive it down the stage. So they have like a closed, 8-mile segment of gravel road. And the inertial system measures like the G loads of accelerations. It measures when you're going like up and down, and it like spits out something, and then someone goes back over it and kind of cleans it up and edits it, and then they give it to you in a printout. And for most rallies, you can actually show up like the day before, and you can pre-run it and like,
Oh, nice! I didn't know you could do
edit
that.
your own notes. Some people completely write their own notes, but yeah, it's all like details about the like how sharp a corner is, how long it is, if it's on camber, off camber, if there's something inside, like if there's a rock right on the inside of the corner, it'll say like don't cut, or if it's over a crest that you can't see past, or over a jump, or there's all kinds of different kind of shorthand for it. And it sort of takes a while to be able to read it. And then the next step is like being able to read it in the car, and then being able to read it in the car. And like what I found over time was that eventually I knew I didn't have to look up as much, because I knew what like a right 4 over opens over crest felt like. And just from like sitting there, like still looking at the notes, not looking up, I knew I could like tell like where we were and make sure that we were on. So
That must have felt really cool.
yeah, it was a
You went
really
super Saiyan there.
really fun adventure. All right, I'm going in.
Oh,
Well, that hit you later.
this one's dangerous because I can tell it's like not bad to
Yeah,
start with.
not
It's
at
really
first.
chill, but I just know that
It's
like
creeping up on you in the
Well, it
back.
does not even taste good.
Yeah, it tastes like burnt.
it's sour. It's not good.
Mm-mm. Oh man. That was not good.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna build for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we're doing it.
Well, now we're in it.
Oh man.
Oops. You're a well-traveled man. Although I've only seen you travel with Vinu since I've known you.
Mhm.
Tell me more about some of the other travels in your life that have changed your perspective on things, like your boys' trip to Europe or your bachelor party in Oktoberfest.
Bachelor party was just a bachelor party. There was nothing else there. I don't think it shaped me in any which way other than taking a few years off my liver. My trip to Europe with my friends right after. Holy shit!
Woo!
Ouch.
Painful.
Yep, I got a little bit on my skin. Hurts on the skin.
Yeah.
So right after I graduated engineering, we decided to go on a trip to Europe. Very cliche, but
Class.
that trip was it was amazing. So obviously, just graduated engineering, was very poor, so we had to travel on a budget. We wanted to go for a long time, so we were gone for I think 45 days.
Nice.
And well, thank you. We tried to hit a number of countries in Western Europe, and it was my first time in Europe. First time doing a trip like that. First time where I was really traveling without, like for an extended period of time without like my family around. So it was a fantastic trip. Like I learned a bunch about myself. Actually, the trip that I knew that I wanted to end up with Vinu for the rest of my life.
Was this wasn't it epiphany you reached
It was, yeah.
when you were waking up at 5 a.m. in the gutter somewhere, head throbbing, puke covered?
It was more. So it was during the days like we'd go to a bunch of places. We were friends at that time, I was like, I couldn't shake the feeling of wanting to experience this place with her. Everywhere I went. So I bought little postcards in every place that made me think of that, and I wrote her a letter.
She still has those.
She still has them.
Matt, how you doing?
I'm here. I'm crying.
I wonder.
I don't know how you were just talking for that long.
I know.
Still
Subu
hurts.
is handling this the best of any of us.
That one was rough.
I was like, what do I do with all my spit? I don't know what to do with my spit anymore.
Yeah.
It's getting worse. Like, how is that possible?
It like physically hurts. Yeah.
My lips are on fire.
Oh. Ooh, you know, if you're ever,
Oh my gosh.
we find that it's too expensive to keep warm during the winter. We just have to like do a little dab.
Yeah.
Do a little dab every day. Woo, I'll keep you going all day.
So that's the nasty one, right?
No,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the rest are also looking pretty bad.
Okay.
There's like what, 2 more, right?
We have our bowl scorpion. And then
And then that one says the spice level
The
is
last
11 out of 10.
The last dab. But are you numb at that point?
I don't know yet.
oh wow. Okay.
What
Check
do you
on
think?
hide.
Yeah.
Wait, where am I? Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Our bowl
Okay, we both got some scorpions going, so
I'm
Yeah.
impressed at your
Okay.
amount of hot sauces you have that equivocates to our hot sauces.
Ooh, gee.
Right?
Okay, this one doesn't have the little plastic. Goes right out.
You did what I did.
That's
right.
You pulled a David.
Yeah, but the wrong hot sauce.
There's no pressure, man. Don't do that.
Spread it out.
Okay, yeah, I'll take after you. All right, Matt. How difficult was the choice to choose going straight to a master's program from your 4-year bachelor's versus like going out and getting industry experience and not having to deal with school anymore? What was the
Yeah.
impetus?
I had done a couple internships, so I was pretty aware of what like industry was going to be like.
Oh, nice.
My program was just a 5th year, which is really nice. By the time I got kind of done with school, I was like, I really don't have much left in the tank, school-wise.
Yeah.
So it was like the easiest way for me to get there. I had some friends that did like night classes basically, and it took them years to get through it. And it seemed like it was a really hard way to do that. All your spare time.
Mm.
Nights
You
and-
said they were taking night classes.
yeah.
Mm.
I think they probably got more out of it doing it that way, like later and like throughout your career, like as you're learning, like you have like more time to absorb and you can like apply it to other things that you're
Sure.
learning and doing. But
Mm.
That's
for me, it was the easiest way to get there.
Me
How
too.
about that?
was-
If not, I don't have almost anyone here.
I was really at my learning ceiling by the time I finished that. So
That was true. I hear that.
I can imagine. Yeah. There does come to be a point when you're like, how much do I want to keep writing versus how much do I want to like live my life?
But going is harder.
I was also not very good at school. I
I
was way better at work than I was at school. So I like wanted to go to work.
I remember being so tired of like paying to work or working or doing somebody else's work, like in my clinicals. I just wanted to like be earning a living and actually be paid for the work that I was doing.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know how people in medical profession do it. Like you guys go to school for so long.
I mean, 6 years, so 1 more year.
Yeah, but then you got the clinicals right on top of that.
So that was included. It
That
was
was
like 2.5 years. Yeah, I just have my master's.
I think it's easier for me than it would be for most people, just because like after 10 years of just like being too cold and too hot and too tired and too hungry, or like just dealing with all this shit, that you realize like being as much as it's a time suck and as much work as it is getting through classes, doing all studying, doing all the assignments, like I know it's so much better than the alternative.
Yeah, I can
Right.
imagine.
I did that. I did an internship with the construction company, and and things I can do, but it's like, is this what I want to do? So
Yeah.
it's much easier to like go back and work towards something that you know is an alternative to like what you've already been doing for so long. You know, because like if you went back to school, you would be furthering a path that you're already on. For me, it's a 180.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be walking away from what I was doing.
Like I recognize people go back to school because
it wasn't bad.
They find a lack of like learning stimuli in their work, right? Like if you are not learning like day to day, and then like going back to school is a great way to go and like really pick up that learning again. And it's been like the mindset I've used when thinking about, do you want to stay in this place? Do you want to go somewhere else? Did you learn something new? And if you didn't learn something new, you have to change your job.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I had stopped learning like a while ago. Technically, you know, there's always more to learn, all that, etc. But like it was just gonna be the same day in, day out, like with small variations. But like I was feeling stagnant in
So the last one.
Yeah, in both my professional and my personal self. Like it was just so easy just to like keep going through the motions and, you know, get to 20, you know, get that pension, et cetera, et
The
cetera.
dad.
But
There you go.
it's not what I wanted to do. So
Dang, dude.
it's definitely, I think it's easier. You guys are already like your work is fulfilling. You're doing cool stuff. You're learning. You're gonna you're gonna interact with like interesting people. So it's like less of an impetus, you know.
All right,
Sorry.
we've reached the point in the show.
All right. So for last question, and this is open to both.
Last
Where do you
stab.
feel? There's a broad question that then narrows down. So where do you feel like engineering is going in general, and then more specifically in your specific specialties? And is there room for more growth, or is everything just becoming like making everything slightly better, but no like true breakthroughs? I feel like everyone's having to like specialize to get anywhere now. Specialize more and more and more, and like I don't know, to the path you want. Or do you agree? All right, Steven.
Let me take a bite of this. So I'm sniffling for my answer.
Come on, Bob.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if that'll build or not.
Uh-huh.
The first bite isn't bad though.
Okay. I still think there's a ton of potential for breakthroughs in engineering, right? Because the cool thing is even stuff that have been engineered, like it's like a product exists, a product is available. Like you actually can think of it this way, like we're using the iPad for this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The iPad was not the first tablet.
Right.
Like there were plenty of manufacturers like making tablet devices. But the iPad it basically reinvented the field. Like it reinvented a thing. And I think that people don't give reinvention a lot of credit when I think it has like tremendous potential. Right? Like you can reinvent something. And that's not make something just incrementally better.
Mm-hmm.
It's to like go back to first principles on that thing and see how it can better solve problems for people or something else. And that's I think like that is a very powerful like it's a space that is available for all engineers to explore. So I still think there's a ton of potential in engineering. Like so there's all this stuff you folks have been hearing about generative AI.
Mm-hmm. It seems like everyone just slaps AI on the front of whatever.
Yeah, but like you see like ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
It was so machine learning, it's basic like this was in like 10 years ago, it was called big data. It was basically data analytics.
Were you familiar with it back then, or is it something you kind of
yeah, it's just like about? You know, it's a thing that existed, and generative AI is just a reinvention of that. It's basically like taking large sets of data and using vector mathematics for it to do fast searches over data. with like some semantic data sets. Like, so it's really like just a reinvented field now, has so much potential and what you can do with it.
Is it because technology is finally caught up?
I think it's the hardware technology has finally caught up. Like the ability for us to process some mathematics and silicon, just one of the reasons that this is possible is finally caught up. So that's one of the cool things in our space right now. Like a lot of people are interested in it. To try and figure out like how you can use it. What we've essentially found is a new kind of a hammer. Like to find the right kind of nails to drive it with this hammer. You can't just like use it on everything.
So it feels like everyone's trying, or at least the MBAs are trying to do. It's like, how can we make AI make us more money this coming quarter? What about yourself, Matt? What do you think?
Yeah, I think kind of like we talked about working with people in different disciplines. Engineering and like your professional life is not just about like, do you know how to solve this equation, or do you remember do you know how to get the right answer for this or something? It's so many different things. It's how much does it cost? It's how long does it take to make? It's what does it look like, or how does it make people feel when they use it? Can they be transported, and can they be, given to everybody, or can you only make a very few of them? The iPad example, or like iPod or iPhone, is a really good one. Another one that comes to mind is like, in the 70s or whatever, like if you read Popular Mechanics, like it'd be like the future issue, and it would be like, oh, we'll all have flying cars and whatever by like the year 2020.
Yeah.
And like we have the technology to make flying cars. Like everybody, there is no physical reason why we don't all have flying cars in our driveway, right? But it just doesn't work for a variety of reasons. They're too expensive. The safety cases are really hard. People are bad drivers already. Like,
you get road rage,
more degrees of freedom, right?
I guess it's called kamikazes.
Yeah. There's just no reason for it. Like what we have is like fairly effective. But the thing that they didn't see was like cell phones, is what they are, or tablets, or all kinds of other stuff. So
it's crazy how quickly things have changed.
Yeah, I think it's cool to be a part of that, and whatever you're working in, maybe it's not an iPhone, but like every industry has its thing going on, and it changes over time, and you get to be the one that's helping to drive that. So I think that's cool. Also, like engineering is the thing that like one of the things that like helps to make our lives better, right? Whereas like people used to listen to stuff on the radio, and then like TVs came out, and then like some families had a TV and it was black and white, and like now you can get a 55-inch 4K TV for like $150, and you can have one in every room of your house. It's absurd. And that's pretty cool too, even though like that sequential improvement isn't like the sexiest thing. Like that's how you get really good stuff also.
Yeah, you gotta be able to like distribute to the masses, right?
Yeah, and then also like the first prototype is never like as good as it could be, right? You have to work on it for a long time.
Makes sense. Let's see. To finish it off here, what's some things we can do here?
My lips. This is like an extreme lip flopper.
I know.
So I'm fine.